All her childhood, Amanda dreamed of one thing only: to grow up quickly and run away from her parents' house. She hated and feared them. From the age of 3, the girl was brought up in a large foster family, where besides her there were 6 boys and 5 girls. And then there were her own children, a nasty, red-haired 12 years old Archie and 15 years old Daisy, who did nothing but scurry around in the kitchen looking for something tasty. Amanda hated the native children of her foster parents for their arrogance and arrogance towards orphans. The girl was brought into this family when she was only 3 years old. "Why are you alone?" a policeman asked the little girl sitting on a bench near the train station. He had been watching her for half an hour, thinking that her parents were somewhere nearby. But no one had approached her. "Where are your parents?" "My mom went to get tickets and told me to sit here and never go," Amanda answered boldly. "And my brother went for ice cream." The girl had been sitting alone for a long time. In that time, it was possible to buy tickets to come back. The policeman looked around him, hesitated whether the girl was telling the truth. Besides, he hadn't seen her brother with her for all this time. The policeman went to the ticket office, but did not find the girl's mother. When he returned, he took her by the hand and took her to the station, from where the little girl was taken to the orphanage. Rose, the mother of Amanda and James, alone raised her children. The boy knew that his father had died of a terrible disease. When his mother's belly became visible, James was 10 years old. "You're gonna to have a babysitter," his mother shared with him, not waiting for her son to ask uncomfortable questions. The news didn't make James feel anything but sadness. He and his mother were having a hard enough time as it was, and now there will be another mouth to feed, and his mother would likely be unable to work for a while. Every evening, Rose went out, leaving James alone to earn money. She washed dishes at the roadside cafe, where she sometimes got some groceries and cooked food in addition to bills. They were already struggling to get by, and the mother was thinking of having a baby. But when his baby sister was born, James' opinion changed. Her mother brought her home from the hospital wrapped in diapers. Tiny, with dark eyes and long eyelashes, she screamed loudly, demanding Rose's breast. "Are you sure she's okay?" James asked her mom. "Why is she screaming like that?" "You screamed even louder when you wanted to eat." The mother smiled and put the baby to her breast. James shook his head as he watched her clutch at the nipple and smack her lips, resting her fists on his mother's lush breast. "She looks like a baby kangaroo." Since the first day of Amanda's arrival in their home, he had taken care of his sister, helping his mother and going to a cafe in the evening instead. Rose arranged with the owner that for some time her son will substitute for her. The woman didn't want to lose her job. During the day, James helped his mother, very sorry for her, tired after sleepless nights. Amanda cried all the time, but not let her mother sleep, and he'd take her for walks in the yard, so her mother could rest. The guy considered himself responsible for his mother and sister because he's the only man in the house. That terrible day, returning to the bench where he left his sister, James panicked. "Amanda, why are you hiding?" he shouted, thinking his sister was playing a trick on him. But his sister was nowhere to be found. His mother was freaking out, thrashing around the train station, but it hadn't even occurred to them to go to the police. James blamed himself for losing his sister, for leaving her alone on that fateful day, and the girl was quickly placed in a foster home. She remembered well how a man and woman came to the orphanage, ready to take her. "I'll be your mommy," the lady told her, bowing down to Amanda. Amanda was on her way home. As she approached the bus stop, the girl realized with annoyance she was late. The next one wouldn't be for another hour. It was getting dark outside. There were no people around. A headlight showed from around the corner. The truck passed Amanda. She breathed in a sign of relief. She didn't want to get into an unpleasant story, no matter who was driving on the highway at this late hour. But suddenly, the car stopped and the driver backed up. "Do you need a ride, beautiful?" asked a wrinkled man in a cap. Amanda kept silent. It was not her policy to talk to a strange man at this late hour. She looked around fearfully, hoping that someone else would show up at the bus stop, but not a soul was around. "Why don't you say something? Need a ride?" I asked. The driver repeated his question. "Get in, it's no trouble." Amanda hesitantly walked around the car and, opening the door, sat in the passenger seat. The car rustled its wheels on the asphalt. The girl looked at the man behind the wheel, trying to see him in the semi-darkness. A big, tanned, cheeky-faced man calmly drove the car, holding his big, powerful hands with thick fingers on the steering wheel. Why did I only sit down to him? He will twist me like a chicken and strangle me if he wants to. Amanda thought and shrank back in her seat. "Where are you going?" the man asked. "Home." "Are you a student?" The driver was obviously asking Amanda for a reason, but she didn't know why he was so insistent about the purpose of her trip. "No, I work in a city." "Why do you ask?" The girl suddenly wanted to show her character, and that she was not afraid of him. "I wonder where such a beautiful girl was going late at night, so I asked." The man shrugged his shoulder and looked at her meaningfully. Amanda felt like he was drilling her with his gaze, which made her even more scared. The girl heard her heart pounding loudly. She scolded herself for getting into the car with a stranger, but secretly hoped that soon she will get to the place and nothing terrible will happen to her. Suddenly, the man turned off the road. "Why did you turn? We have to go straight ahead," Amanda asked fearfully. "Don't be afraid, baby. You will like where we are going," said the truck driver. "Stop the car, please," the girl asked, almost crying. "I will walk from here." "Sit down. Why jump now?" said the man and laughed loudly. Apparently, he found it funny that Amanda was so afraid of him. The girl's mind was filled with terrible thoughts, one more horrible than the other. What if this stranger was a maniac, and she will soon become his victim? Amanda imagined herself murdered, abandoned along a country road. Her heartbeat increased, a panic attack began. The girl stared ahead through the windshield, but the picture in front of her was blurring. In panic, she began to jerk the car door, went to jump out of the truck cab on the fly. "Hey, what are you doing? Sit still, we'll be there soon," shouted the driver. "Let me out right now." She felt a shocking fit, and then nausea came to her throat. The girl felt extremely dizzy. She once again tried to open the cabin door, but immediately lost consciousness and collapsed on the seat. "What are you doing, girl?" The driver looked at the breathless body of his traveling companion. "Hey! Oh shit! Is she dead or what?" He jumped out of the cab, went around to the other side and opened the door. Pulling the girl out, he dragged her across the grass, laid her down, and knelt down and put his ear to her chest. No heartbeat could be heard, but a vein pulsed faintly in her neck. Alive, the truck driver thought, frantically remembering what was done in cases where a person lost consciousness. Heart massage, CPR, slapping the cheeks. Not knowing what he was doing, He ripped the collar of her dress, buttoned 3 buttons on the neck to make it easier for the girl to breathe. James had never faced a situation like this in his life. He placed his palms on the girl's chest, remembering how indirect her message was done in the movies. 1, 2, 3. He started counting out loud and then bent down to perform CPR and suddenly froze. On the girl's neck, he saw a thin, simple chain with a pendant. As a girl, Amanda often ran away from the house of her foster parents, wandered around the town, and often went into the garden of a small church. Through the open windows came the choral church singing. The girl listened mesmerized, looking at the girls in uniform dresses. They were beautiful, like angels depicted on church frescoes. At such moments, she imagined that someday she too will sing in the church choir. While you're sitting here alone, Amanda heard an unfamiliar voice and turned around. In front of her stood a short woman in a long black dress and a dark shawl that went down beautifully over her shoulders. The nun had a kind face and smiled as she looked at the girl. Amanda wanted to run away, but the woman stopped her by taking her hand. "Do you like listening to church singing?" she asked. "Yes," the girl replied with her eyes downcast. "So why are you afraid to go inside? Why are you hiding in the garden?" Amanda was silent, feeling caught doing something wrong. "Let's go," said the nun. The small cell was quiet and very clean. Amanda looked around the room. "Stay here. I'll be right back," the woman said. She went out, closing the door behind her, and returned with a plate covered with a white cloth napkin. "Eat. You must be hungry." Amanda took a bite of the puffy loaf in her hands. The bread tasted magical, fresh and fragrant. Drinking the treat with milk, the girl felt a feeling of joy and warmth spread through her body. "Listen, girl, I don't know who you are and where you came from, but if you're in a difficulty or lonely, you can always come to the temple and say so," said the nun, sitting down on the bed next to Amanda. The girl nodded, letting her know she understood. "My name is Rose. I came here when I was having a hard time too," the nun said. "Where are you abused to?" Amanda asked, licking her lips, which were white with milk. "The hurt can be endured, but the pain of loss is very hard to bear." "Who did you lose? Mom?" "No," the nun shook her head. "I lost my children." "They died?" Amanda suggested naively. "I hope no. It's just that they've been gone for a long time now." "Where are your parents?" the woman asked. "I don't have any. I live with my foster mom and dad, but they don't love me at all. It's not everyone's gift to love their neighbors. It comes from God, but you need to know that they care about you, and you have to respect them. So go home, baby. Don't upset the people who put a roof over your head." Nun Rose walked Amanda to the church gate and then looked at her for a long time. There was something warm about the girl, as if she were her own. Amanda came to Rose's house often. The nun fed the girl and also read the gospel. The girl did not understand everything from the scripture, but she listened attentively. Rose's voice sounded quiet, mesmerizing, and all Amanda's troubles vanished. One day she complained to the woman about Archie. He constantly hurt the girl and even sometimes beat her. "He's nasty and mean," Amanda said. "If I had a real sibling, he would protect me." "My son loved his little sister very much. He took care of her from the first day of her life, played with her and took her for walks." "I wish I had such a brother," Amanda said dreamily. "I will love him too. Where are your son and daughter?" She looked at Rose carefully. Amanda longed to see her children, about whom the nun had spoken so warmly and lovingly, but the nun only sighed heavily. saying, "Only the Lord knows, girl." Every time Amanda tried to talk to Rose about her children, the woman became sad and silent. In time, the girl realized that it was best not to broach the subject. The last time she heard about the nun's daughter and son was when she came to say goodbye. Amanda was about to leave for college. "May you do well in life," Rose said as she put a small pendant on a thin chain around her neck. Inside the silver frame was a picture of a nun. "Wear this pendant to feel that I'm always there for you." She put her arms around Amanda and held her tightly to her chest. "Be happy, baby," were Rose's last words. "Where I am," Amanda thought, waking up in an unfamiliar bed in a small room with a tiny window through which daylight filtered in. The last thing she remembered was the driver of a truck that was taking her to an unknown destination, turning off the highway. The girl became frightened. She got out of bed and went to run away from the house. She didn't remember how she got there, but footsteps were heard outside the door. Oh, awake. The same truck driver who had scared Amanda so badly the night before asked as he entered the room, "Sit down and have something to eat." He put a plate of sandwiches on the table. The man looked to be about 35, tall, with muscles bulging out from under the sleeves of his t-shirt. He still didn't inspire confidence in Amanda, so she hurriedly declined his offer. "I'm sorry, I have to go," she whispered, but the man blocked her way. "You're not going anywhere, at least not now. Sit down and eat. I will pour you some coffee, and I could use some refreshment myself." "What are you going to do with me?" Amanda asked fearfully. "First of all, you shall thank me for bringing you here and not leaving you on the road. You could have... By the way, what was that with you?" the man asked, sitting down on the chair next to the table. "Panic attack. I was very scared when you turned off the road and took me to some unknown place." "You're funny," smirked the truck driver. "I just had to get some water to put in the radiator. What do you think? Do I look like a rapist or a gangster?" "To be honest, you do," the girl said, looking at the stranger. "You could have said so, but you didn't have to scare me." "Well, let's get acquainted. My name is James." "Amanda." She took a sandwich, took a bite of a sausage roll, and sipped her coffee from the cup. "I was scared when you fainted, and when I saw this thing around your neck, I decided to bring it home with me." The man handed Amanda her pendant, a gift from Rose, a nun. "Give it back," she said, and held out her hand. The girl had never parted with a gift from a kind woman, and she felt bad that this man she didn't know had taken the jewelry off her neck. "Of course I will, but first you will tell me where you got this pendant." "Why should I tell you that?" The girl was indignant. "Because your pendant depicts my mother, whom I haven't seen in years," James said, bobbing his head slightly and looking at his random guest carefully. "And now it turns out that your name is like my little sister. Who are your parents? Where did you come from? And where did you get this pendant?" Amanda was shocked by what James said. She remembered Rose saying that she had children but lost them, but she couldn't believe that she had a nun's son in front of her. God, seeing that Amanda was going to tell him anything, he decided to continue the conversation. "Then I will tell you everything that happened a long time ago in my life." It was the incredible story of a teenage boy whose life had changed dramatically one day. James spent his entire life berating himself for leaving his little sister alone on a bench after deciding to buy an ice cream. Unable to find her daughter, her mother went crazy. She spent days wandering the streets of the city, looking into the faces of the children. From grief, the woman began to stick to the bottle. Sometimes didn't go to work, and James replaced her, cleaning up the dirty dishes in the cafe. Rosie stopped caring for her son, and often there was no food in the house. I started stealing to eat and feed my mother, who was withering before my eyes, and one day I got caught. If I had known then that I will only make things worse for my mother with my actions, if I had realized that, and then what happened? Amanda asked. And then I ended up in jail. So your mom was all alone? Are you sure it's her? Amanda couldn't believe that the sweet, kind known Rose was James' mother. Yes, Amanda. When I got out, there were strangers living in our little apartment. They didn't know where my mother had gone. They just vanished like she never existed. And you didn't find her? No, the man shook his head. But every day I wake up and go to sleep thinking about my mother and sister. I pray to God that they will be healthy and perhaps we will meet someday. Apparently, God heard me because Amanda, you're my sister that I once left on a bench in front of the train station. And since you have a picture of my mother, you must know where she is. What Amanda was hearing seemed unbelievable to her. Yes, she had been taken from the orphanage to a foster home, but no one had ever told the girl how she got there. From distant, very vague memories, she found the image of her mother and brother, but they were vague, and in time almost erased from her memory altogether. She wanted to find you too, she said quietly, tears welling up in her eyes. Our mom lives at the church. She's a nun. Amanda told James how she had first seen Rose, how she's taken care of her, and read the gospel. We have to go to her, Amanda, the man said and stood up resolutely, putting his arm around her shoulders. Now we must be together forever. An hour later, they were in James' truck, rushing to meet the mother from whom fate had separated them.